Hello everyone, my name is Diamantino Marcus, and I'm working on making indoor farming more efficient. Indoor vertical farming promises to be the future, requiring no pesticides or herbicides, growing plants all year round locally, while utilizing a fraction of the land. But the problem is, indoor farming is failing. Over the past years, many operations like Farm Here have turned off their lights for good, leaving behind the promises of this tech-based future. Most will tell you this is for an obvious reason. Indoor farming will never compete with field farming because the sun is free and artificial lighting is expensive, right? Well, when you look under the hood of these operations, you're told a different story. In reality, the energy from artificial lighting and heating, coupled with packaging and rent, accounts for only 27% of the total costs. Shipping accounts for 6%, and inputs like seeds and nutrients account for 11%. But the biggest story here, by far, is the labor cost. On average, 57% of the costs in indoor farming come from labor. This is because indoor farming is labor inefficient. Per acre, an indoor farm requires an average of 63 people to operate. In contrast, your average organic field farm requires only 2. So, beginning at the start of last year, I set out on a journey to solve this issue. I began drafting some of my ideas, ordering parts from eBay as I went along, and learning electronics and software and everything else I would need. And this is what I came up with. In a typical indoor farm, seeds are kept in something like a salt shaker and spread manually by a worker for each level of farm. My idea is to remove the labor from this task by using a rail, upside down, holding a box with seeds in it. This box would go along, dropping seeds on the farm using gravity. Or how it was described back to me by a friend who I showed this to, the horticultural equivalent of carpet bombing. Okay, so I built it. And here it is. After countless trips to my local library's 3D printer, a cartridge full of seeds is carried from one end to the other, and it stores open, allowing seeds to fall into the farmland. The result was so much better than I expected. The spread of the seeds was incredible, and I could even replicate it many times by just pressing a button. The other aspect of labor in an indoor farm is harvesting. And how this is done right now is you have a worker pull each farm layer separately from the stack, and then they'll cut every plant with a pair of scissors and place each of those cuts in a bin. My solution involves a rail again, but this time they'll carry a razor blade that'll cut close to the stems of the plant and push all the remains along into a pickup bin. And here's what that looks like. Here you have a cutter pusher mechanism cutting, again low to the stem, and leaving nothing behind, effectively removing one of the biggest pains in indoor farming, just like that. If you remember that chart from earlier, here's that again. This time with automated seeding and harvesting. As you can see, all of those labor costs now convert to profit, and all you're left with for labor is the packaging of the produce. Now that that big issue is solved, I think it's about time that indoor farming finally starts to compete with the field, to finally offer everyone better produce farmed locally. And here's what I want to build to start that change. Concept 1 will be a fully integrated farm that will feature 5 levels that can output arugula, kale, spinach, lettuce, and more salad greens. 125 pounds per month, and the only labor requirement? Swapping out seed and nutrient cartridges and packaging after harvest. Each farm unit will cost $6,000 and have a return on investment of just 7 months. These farms will be sold with a 30% margin. The required cartridges for these farms will be sold for $50 and with a 90% profit margin, selling a total of $500 per month per unit. We hope to sell these to grocery stores, restaurants, delivery companies, or to anyone really that would benefit from the local and affordable production of greens. At scale, at the start of production, if we sell 10 units in the first month and are able to grow that by just 40% per month, but reach a manufacturing cap of 100 units per month, we'll reach $500,000 in profit per month by month 12. And as you can see there, the reoccurring profit from cartridge sales will eventually surpass the profit of unit sales by a lot. And I think this is going to be the main mechanism for scale here. This ARCH grant will allow me to finalize the design and prototyping of Concept 1, as well as to build 3 test units that will serve as the test beds for continuous and robust operation for many, many seeding, growing, harvesting cycles. And most importantly, to allow me to really nail the product before shipping it to the first test customers here in St. Louis. The team is currently just myself, but I don't prefer to work alone. In the next few months, I will look to bring on the first members of a founding team that will help me. I'm going to keep learning everything as I go, just as I have for the last 2 years. Working on this problem is more fulfilling to me than anything else I can imagine working on. I love this field, and I'm committed to helping it evolve for the next decade. St. Louis is the best place to build this business, and I really believe that. The best place in the world to build a software startup is in Silicon Valley, and the best place in the world to build a fintech startup is in New York. And I think over the coming years, St. Louis will be that for AgTech. There is more agricultural technology talent here than anywhere else. And as we start to build our business here, I think we can begin to really attract that talent and at the same time be able to provide many manufacturing jobs. My name is Diamantino Marcus, and I want to make the future more efficient. This is just the beginning. Thank you.